Hey, folks, it's Blockchain Bernie here. This is my AMA. Ask me anything, which I'm doing on a regular basis, actually. So I have status updates about the Xandeum project. I have these AMAs like about every 6 weeks recently. Let me know if you need them more often or less often. And yeah, I'm also, streaming and reporting about general blockchain stuff, but especially keep you updated about the progress of the Xandeum project. All right, we have a Discord. So in Discord, there's also a channel called AMA Questions. So if you're not on our Discord, go to xandeum.com. Our website, I'll show you our website. It's right here. So here in the top right, you see the Discord. So you can click on that Discord icon here to get on our Discord server, and then also get on our email list, which is especially important these days because there will be exciting things going on anytime soon where you need to be there on the day of the launch to get the most out of it, right? So there will be huge boost factors on the day of the launch. There will be a series of emails in the form of videos that can only be watched from those emails. So you need to get on that email list, and also follow us on X, follow Xandeum, follow myself, Blockchain Bernie. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing on these channel here. And yeah, this is an AMA. So I see a couple of guys here in the chat. Wonders of the world, hello from Switzerland. Hello from Las Vegas. Robert Hedgegar, hello from Bavaria. Nice. And from Austria, lots of German-speaking guys here. Kryptoni is there, good to meet you. Peter Machala from Slovakia. Ian, hey Ian. Alan Morris from the UK. All right, so let's dive into it. I've already had a few questions on our Discord. Liechtenstein is here, awesome. John, good to see you. Hey, from Washington State. And yeah, I mean, let me start a little bit with some of the questions that I already saw on Discord about the progress of the DevNet and the PNodes and everything. So the Solana Breakout, you mean the Solana Breakpoint conference? So the news is we're there. We have we're a big sponsor actually, and we have what they call a deluxe booth. And actually we have negotiated with them that we have a second booth on the dev stage. So we're going to be there with 2 booths, and are a big sponsor. All their speaking slots were booked out. So they only have a limited amount of speaker slots. And while that is a sad thing, in hindsight, we thought like, well, we have our things to say on our booth, and with these speaker slots, it's often there are so many people there, you never know who's listening, who's not listening. So yeah, we'll live with what we could get, and yeah, so they didn't accept me for the speaker slot. So that's the news about that. But that doesn't make a big difference. It's going to be a great event there. For Singapore. So we're making more and more progress with the preparation there. And, here are my minimum goals on the timeline, because I had so many questions about the timeline, and I 100% understand that, right? On the other hand, it's just like things are so hard to get planned. First of all, because we're doing something that has never been done before. There is no blockchain out there that has a scalable storage layer, that has an extension of the account model that is part of the blockchain, right? The blockchain can do compute, it can run code on the blockchain, and it has accounts, right? Ethereum has accounts, Solana has accounts, but these accounts don't scale, right? And I keep getting questions like, what's the difference to shadow, SHDW, and stuff like that. They don't do that storage layer. They don't extend the accounts that are an inherent part of the blockchain to be able to scale capacity-wise out there, right? And let alone, they don't do that with kind of a second layer of nodes. The validator nodes, we have the validator nodes, but we also have the provider nodes that do this actual storage there. And these PNodes are being supervised by the VNodes. And let me tell you that this is tough stuff, right? This is a tough, tough problem. I believe it's going to change the world, but it's also a big bet, right? It's a big bet on that blockchain is going to be used as a world computer, as a replacement for centralized servers, so that you can run any app that you can think of, any Web 2 app that you can think of, you can immediately also run it on Web 3, right? That's a big bet, and it isn't there today, and I see that with so many people that I talk to. They just cannot imagine that new world because it's so far from what's possible today with blockchain, right? All those apps that we see are quite limited just because these apps don't have access, the developers of these apps don't have access to a storage layer. So, and it is tough stuff. We have that intermediate product, which is liquid staking, and that is so tightly coupled to our goals of the Xandeum chain, right? Because it's going to catapult us into visibility in the Solana chain. So with that booth that we have on Breakpoint in Singapore, we will promote that storage layer. And with the liquid staking pool, it's going to be like if people stake with our liquid staking pool, they will make sure they will get the extra storage rewards, which will be huge when they liquid stake with us. Not from day one because we're not live yet with the storage layer. But once the storage layer comes, then whoever liquid stakes with us will get these extra storage rewards. So that's going to be a big, unique selling proposition for the Xandeum liquid staking pool. And then also think about it, we are going to be the first liquid staking pool on the Solana chain that will share block rewards. And block rewards, let me tell you this, they are a big source of income for Solana validators these days, just because so many transactions are being processed on the Solana chain, and the validators earn money not only for validating, which was the case, before there was the big run, but right now, the validators also earn a lot of money, a lot of SOL for creating blocks, right? Because block space has become scarce. People want to get their transaction through. They want to get a block produced with their transaction being part of it. That's why they are paying up with priority fees. So users in DeFi, in everywhere, are paying up with priority fees, and these priority fees go to the validators, and these priority fees need to be shared with the stakers. And we are the first pool, the first pool that shares these block rewards with the stakers. That's why the APY will be just awesome for anyone, and anyone who's involved in the Xandeum project. Please help us with all you have to make that liquid staking pool a success. Be there on day one, sign up to all our lists, and stake some SOL if you have some and need to get it staked with the Xandeum liquid staking pool, because that's also going to be a source of income for the Xandeum Pool Foundation. The Xandeum Pool Foundation owns that pool. There will be a pool commission that flows to the Xandeum Pool Foundation, and the Xandeum Pool Foundation will then have the funds to pay it onwards to XandeumLabs to build the software that we need to build. So there were some questions about funding and stuff like that. There has been no additional funding that has not been announced already. And we will publish the tokenomics, obviously, of all the XNDE tokens. So you will see where the XNDE tokens go to. There will be a big reserve for the Xandeum Pool Foundation, and there will be a small a team allocation, and we're all going to publish that. But it's going to be quite a significant amount of all the XNDEs go to you guys, the guys that have points, the guys that have Xand from purchasing nodes, and this pool product is really, really important, and our goal is to launch it really, really soon. There was a question also, when is soon? But, I don't want to answer all these questions in a large monologue here. Let's save some time for some more questions here, right? Okay, so hola from Mexico. Oh, that's awesome. Good to hear that. Ed Rice, hey Bernie. Alan Morris, hey Bernie. When is liquid staking going to take place? So, as I mentioned, this liquid staking pool is so important for our whole project, right? Because it's linked to the storage layer. The storage rewards, as the validators will be getting them, they will go into the liquid staking pool. It's going to push our name forward within the Solana community, and it is going to be a source of funding, right? That was the question. So no, there's not the way of VC funding. We're not in talks anywhere. There's no special allocation that you guys don't know about or anything. But we are earning money from our Solana validator. Right? It's a big source of income, so there's no doubt about that. So that's why we're taking care of that. And now we're expanding on that with the liquid staking pool. And it is important for us to fund the future activities, right? So it's important for everyone to help make that launch of the liquid staking pool a success. And back to your question, Alan, when is it going to be? I don't want to promise so many things. I feel a little bit like in the position of what Elon Musk was in with his full self-driving and all that kind of stuff, and it's coming next week, and then it takes, the devil is in the details. There are so many unknowns here. For example, just deploying programs on the Solana mainnet can take sometimes a week or so, right? And nobody saw that. We're talking with all the lawyers right now to have, all the legal prerequisites in place. So they are working like crazy, and I need to work with them. They need all the input from me, right? It takes time. But anyway, our goal is to launch that liquid staking pool in early August, right? And we even have a date in mind, but I'm not going to share that date with you right now, right? But it's going to be sometime in August, hopefully, in the first half of August. And that's the goal that we're working towards. And there can always be delays, as I mentioned. But yeah, it's soon. I mean, it's July 21st today. So yeah, it's going to come soon. And you guys, you need to follow all our channels, and especially the emails. Make sure you receive our emails, right? That's a big issue also. Email deliverability, right? It's so easy for these emails that come from lists to get stuck somewhere in the spam folders and stuff. So whatever you can do there to mention that it's a legit email, you can respond to it, right? And then your email system knows, like, okay, I responded, you guys responded to it, so it must be a legit email address, or there's some whitelisting functions. You need to figure it out with your email tools, but you need to be able to receive our emails. All right. Alan Morris again. Okay, at last you tried. Next year, I don't know what that's referring to, but anyway. Ed Rice, I like to gamble. John Spence, understandably a challenging problem, but how far along are you? Do you have an internal DevNet up and running with PNodes? So thanks for that question, John. And also I saw the other questions out there on the Discord. the way I understand this question is like it's going beyond the liquid staking, right? It's just a question about the storage layer and the PNodes and everything, right? And to be honest with you, we decided, and someone wrote like, "Hey, it's been 2 years." Yeah, it's been 2 years, right? For 1 year, we've been busy with fundraising, right? So I would say the first half year we've been busy with building the fundraising tool, right? the crowdfunding tool that we had, and then for a year we've been busy with fundraising, and then we went to the Solana hackathon where not much came out of it, but it took us time, right? It was a few months that we used with that, and now we're doing that pool, right? And that obviously is slowing down development on the actual storage layer. So with the storage layer, there is, I can actually recommend anyone to get updated on this here. It's docs.xandeum.org, right? And that's our early draft here. And here you can also see how far we are with the actual design, right? And there's so much to say here. I could walk through all of this. Maybe I'll do a special video walking you guys through this here. But, with the VNodes supervising the PNodes, doing all that consensus level, it's a consensus of its own in there, and logging the Merkle proofs on the actual underlying chain and all these type of things. There are a lot of challenges there, and it has never been done before, right? So we're experimenting with all that and have our own kind of environment where we try out things with modifying the Solana validator. We have that on local machines, really strong local machines, so that we can compile the validator and just run it on a one validator local testnet, see what happens, and to test out all the technology that is laid out in this document here. But the speed of that has been slowed down a little bit through that intermediate product, and we need that intermediate product for all those reasons that I mentioned, and I'm super excited about it. And it has been proven a great way with Cheeto, right? Because Cheeto is similar in some ways, because Cheeto also is modifying, is developing or has developed their own modified Solana validator. And they had that liquid staking as an intermediate product. And they had that linking also. The liquid staking only delegates to validators that use their modified validator software. So it's a proven path, and obviously it takes resources. It's a little bit slower with the actual storage chain development, but we're still making progress in parallel there. We're learning a lot of stuff. We're learning a lot of stuff from developing the liquid staking pool, from running our own validators, from modifying the validators with our yield defender tool that we've built for the liquid staking pool. And from all of that, we're learning on how we can apply these things to our modified version of the Solana validator. And the DevNet so far has been helping us, doing some experiments and figuring out how this whole storage technology works. And that means with an MVP, that's the question that I see here. Are you still pre-MVP? Of course, have you seen, there is no MVP out there, right? So you would have seen it, right? So it's kind of a rhetorical question almost. There is no MVP, but right after launching the liquid staking pool, we will start with a DevNet that includes the PNodes, right? And that's the only reason why we slowed that down, is to do this intermediate product in between, and it's going to help us fund everything. It's going to help us get the word spread out. It's going to help us learn even more about the underlying blockchain technology. So that's why we're doing that, and we want to get that done, the liquid staking done, way before breakpoint. And we're going to have all the narrative and the PNodes, and hopefully the PNodes launched before breakpoint or at breakpoint or kind of at the same time. So that's the goal there, right? So, all right. How many Xan tokens can I exchange for XNDE? That's a great question. We have made a decision about that, but we haven't published it yet, right? And I'm not prepared to make this like on the fly an announcement event or something like that. So all these tokenomics, by the way, we're going to let them have them reviewed by an experienced team that knows about tokenomics, that offers that as their product. They are Solana veterans, and they are looking into that that tokenomics document. But it will be, for us, it's important for it to be a fair launch, right? So there's no kind of hidden things there. We don't want it to be like a huge, fully diluted valuation. So that's a lot of people talk about that, the FDV, fully diluted valuation. So then we float like only a tiny bit, and then we have a huge part somewhere in the drawer that we can later float and put into the market to basically fill our pockets later then. And there will be something like that, but it won't be like overly huge, and it will be fully disclosed. And the last thing, by the way, we're working on to get that launch done is the token staking, token locking, token vesting, just to support this whole ecosystem here. Can we, that's the next question here, Ed. Can we stake our XNDE tokens when we cash in our points? Yes, so that's the goal. Whether we call it staking or locking or even vesting or something, that is to be seen. So that's kind of the very last piece of the puzzle that we're working on before launching the liquid staking pool. And it's important, right? And a few people have asked me that already. So that's a very, very good question. Okay, we have Samuel again here from Nigeria. Yay! And I always keep mentioning how glad I am that we are also a geographically diverse crowd here. All right. What happened to the Xandepedia? Well, Xandepedia is still that app, that demo app that we're building ourselves, right? It's like when Steve Jobs built the iPhone and the App Store and stuff, there were some of the Apple's own apps that demo everything, how everything works, right? So, and that's still something that will be, it will come with the storage layer to demo how this whole thing works, right? Because there's so many people that ask, what's the difference between Xandeum and XYZ, right? And I just keep repeating, it's a storage layer. It's an extension of the account model, just making the account model scalable. And I think it's really groundbreaking, but it's also a bet on, maybe people don't want a blockchain that can run any software that a normal centralized server can also do. I personally believe, the world wants that, but the world needs to see it, right, before they can even utter the wish to want that, right? It's like, I think it was also a Steve Jobs quote where he said, like, if we would ask people, or we would have asked people before cars came about, what do you want for the future of transportation? They would have just said faster horses, right? Because they can't imagine anything else, right? And some things, some big innovations just need to be there before people really say, oh yeah, that's what we want, right? Zandstorm, you planned this event last year on pretty short notice and decided to postpone it. Are you planning another such event, or are you holding off until a certain point in the project? We're holding off for now. I mean, now we decided to participate in Breakpoint and be a sponsor of Breakpoint. So that's what we're focusing our energy on for this year. But next year, yeah, it's still a great idea, and that's still part of my vision. I love to host these Zandstorm things. I love the name, by the way. And yeah, it's still on the table, but not this year. Matthew Norman, I am guilty of that. I don't even know what's going on, missing all the emails. Okay. Barry Conway, Validator nodes currently cost $7,500, which is a large investment for most people, and the price will only get higher. Can you give some indication of the rewards enjoyed by other Validator nodes? So first of all, that's a very good point here. And when I read on the AMA questions on the Discord, like, hey, Bernie, it's been 2 years, right? I've been thinking like, yeah, we needed half a year to build our own crowdfunding platform. And then probably a year, we did a lot of fundraising and had a lot of events, like a launch and another launch and a DevNet launch. And the DevNet launch was also, frankly, part of fundraising, right? We sold some more nodes there. And then some people are asking, oh, what's going on with the nodes, right? Yeah. You know, if we have the capacity to do some marketing as we did for 1 year, I'm sure we can sell more nodes, right? We just stopped the marketing, right? So that's the reason we're not selling that many, but that doesn't mean it's not a great idea, right? And I think, you know, at 7,500 USDC, and I said that many times, right? It is one of the best things you can participate in this. You'd have to do something. Obviously, you have to run your own nodes. And once the validator software becomes available, you can run it. So it's not participating off of our business. It's you doing kind of your own little business and running these nodes. But yeah, then the paybacks are just, you know, it's the best idea still. And I'm glad sometimes I see people that get these nodes, right? And I forgot the Discord name of the latest one just a week ago or so. One went for 7,500. I'm super thankful for that. So if you're watching today, thanks. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of Zand nodes, and these Zand nodes are the core, the Zand tokens, and these Zand tokens are the core of our storage layer that's being built after the liquid staking pool, right? So the Zand holders, and you know, they will be the core of everything. And I can't be too concrete here because, you know, it's just it all depends on what you do later on and how you run your node and things like that. So it's not like, you know, you just invest it and then we create value for you. It's you'd have to create your value also by running a reliable node and everything. And many of you do that in the DevNet. But yeah, I can only recommend if anyone believes in that vision and that big bet that I mentioned several times today, right? The big bet that, you know, people want a blockchain that can run any software that a real server can run, right? Because since Ethereum, blockchains, smart contract blockchains have become like a world computer, right? So, and that's the bet, right? If it becomes a real world computer that has a scalable storage layer, that has these accounts so that they are not more like the RAM of the world computer, but they're kind of the disk, the SSD, and the storage layer of that world computer, that is something that people want to build on and want to build apps that are as full-featured and fully fledged as any Web 2 app, but run completely decentralized without any single instance being able to control that server, right? if you believe in that vision, yeah, you should come on board. You should work with us, and the best way to do that is get one or more of these nodes. It's honestly, yeah, it is the best way by far, by any other comparison. So someone was asking for the exchange rate also for ZAND for XNDE and what the limit is. We've made the decisions about that. They're all in there. Let us do our last review of all the tokenomics. It's part of the tokenomics with that company that we're working with, and let us do our reveal of these info, right? And it's always a nice try to just try that, like, hey, let's call Bernie or ask Bernie and let him reveal something. It is, I hope you understand that, right? It's something that we want to reveal in a concerted way to everyone, and not just as a side thing. It's some AMA here. Okay. Wonders of the world, and will there only be one option or a regular swap? So it will be limited for a few days, right? So there will be like a week or so of a window before the launch, before XNDE is listed, and you can swap up to a certain amount of ZAND per node that you own, right? Per founder's equivalent, right? So you might remember there were platinum nodes in the beginning, and one platinum node is just another word for 6 founders nodes, right? So if you own 2 platinums and 3 founders, that's a founder's equivalent of 12 plus 3, so 15, right? So we will look at your founder's equivalent, and then per founder's equivalent, there will be a specific limit of ZAND, right? So you will have to be a node owner. So when you claim your XNDE, you will have to connect to the wallet that you bought these nodes with, right? It's not enough to just own ZAND that you got from somewhere. You have to be a node owner, have to connect with the wallet that you bought the nodes with, and then you still need to have the ZAND also. And that amount of ZAND you can swap into XNDE. So that's how it's going to work. And that's our way to reward everyone that has been with us for a long time and owns nodes. And then soon after that, the plan is that XNDE gets listed, and you will see a monetary value for that, right? And that's something that we've all been waiting for, obviously. What other advertising measures are planned? For example, interviews with YouTube influencers, or are there other platforms where blockchain investors can be found? Yeah, so as I said, it's like, of the 2 years, for 1.5 years, we've been busy with like marketing stuff, right? So at some point we just need to build, right? And we just need to cook before we can serve a meal. So that's our primary focus now. We need to build that thing. We need to to be able to show how it works. We need to get the PNodes running, and all these type of things. And, we have funding. We have funding from having sold those nodes. We have funding from running our validator. We will get funding from running the pool, and that's all fine, right? And when the day is there where the storage layer is working and stuff like that, marketing will get into focus again, right? But, we had a marketing phase to just be able to get started. Now building is front and center, and for now, most of the building and the developer power went into the pool, but that's, not in vain, right? It is very, very helpful both for all of our dev team to understand the details and the inner workings of the validators and staking, all that stuff that we need to build our own validator. software, and it's also important to get the funding that we need, right? And I like this sort of funding, and it's super transparent. All the tokenomics are transparent. I like that way more. And yeah, interviews with YouTube influencers. Also, the YouTube channel, by the way, this YouTube channel is still a major part of the equation, right? So it's our means of getting new people on board. It's our means of getting people excited for our products, like the liquid staking pool, and we're going to keep this YouTube channel up, right? And it's different from many other things in the Solanaverse or in cryptoverse in general, right? There haven't been many crypto projects where that, have gotten their community mainly from YouTube. So it's a relatively underserved marketing channel, right? So there's not that much competition here, which is just awesome. And, we've assembled an awesome team here through this YouTube channel, and we will continue to do so. And yes, we are thinking about how to expand the YouTube channel into other things, and doing more interviews, me getting interviewed, me getting on podcasts and stuff like that. That's all part of it. But for now, we need to have the pool running. We need to have the documentation and the narrative and the story for the storage layer presentable in a way that's really compelling for the breakpoint event. And then we're going to breakpoint, and then after that we're going to focus on launching the PNodes and building everything that's necessary to launch the PNodes. And at some point, we just need to scale down marketing a little bit, because it's we can work on one thing at a time. Okay, please include documentation about the data encryption at rest and transit with your documentation when you get there. I think it's mentioned there, but we can add some more detail there. Thanks for that tip, John. Peter, hi, I am the latest node. Oh, Substance 242. Thank you, Peter. I love it. And you gave your country somewhere? I think I saw it somewhere here. Peter, when you introduced yourself, where was it? I don't know. Okay, I think you gave your country at some point in time. Okay, so yeah, so glad you're here. And yeah, as I said, it's if you want the best bang for your buck, the nodes are still awesome, right? You can do all of these calculations. And that's something that we do with all the tokenomics. When we do the math for everything, we don't want to have anything come out there that's kind of economically better than having bought that node, right? So that's our kind of pricing umbrella there, right? And just because we're so grateful for all the people in the early days having put their trust in us, and also the ones that bought nodes just recently. So we will make sure that, those people don't be left out there in the rain, right? Okay. Then Alan Morris again, I understand that you cannot say yet about how many Xandeum we can exchange for the XNDE, but can we exchange them before liquid staking goes live? And how will that happen? Yeah, I think I answered that, right? It'll be before it goes live. There will be a window of a few days or so, maybe a week, and it'll be limited to a certain number of Xan per node that you own. Alan G, this is not financial advice, but recently my major regional bank has taken my reserve of tokens and assigned a minimal value to it and is counting them as a non-liquid asset in my financial profile. Okay, not sure if that's in the US or not. There are so many different things here. and it's different for each and every one. Okay, John Spence also, as you develop, please include the flexibility to mount simple storage services like AWS S3 or Azure Blob Storage. Okay, yeah, I'll take that as an input here. And yeah, we have that in normal validator communities also. So there's Solana validators helping secure the network that run on AWS and things like that. So there's no point in not having these organizations in there. Yeah. Okay, understood. Ed Rice, can you run PNodes on a desktop with a 500 gig hard drive? Yeah, 500 gig might be the lower end. Not sure if 500 gig will work or if we require like a terabyte minimum or something. But definitely the goal is that it can run on a desktop, and that all might change, right? So, make no mistake, I keep repeating that it's something that has never been done before. We're iterating over that. We're doing our research. We're having prototypes and then iterating over it. So it might work out very well in early versions of the PNode DevNet, and then maybe it might not work out in later iterations, and then we might say, oh, but that's not working because all these people have all these nodes, so we need to change our approach and stuff like that, right? It's all like, you just all need to be aware that we're at an early stage of the journey with the actual PNodes and running the storage layer. A lot of things might change, right? And we all want to know how it's going to play out in the end. But just turns out like I'm just another human being, just as you guys are, right? Okay. Windows or Linux ed. What exactly is the ed here? Education or... Oh, Ed. Oh, you mean Ed. Got it. Can you run PNodes on a... Yeah. Yeah, the PNodes should be running on either operating system, right? So we've talked about that. We wanted to start with Windows. There were a lot of Linux guys, just like myself, that said like, we cannot start with Windows, right? But likely, if we look ourselves all in the eyes and then we figure out it's probably, the most... the most out there, right? So, yeah, let's see. Abdubada, yo, Bernie, I trust this man more than my own father. Okay, thank you. Good to hear. And John Spence, and glad that you're here, by the way. Abdu, I think I've seen you a couple of times in here. And John, Bernie, getting blockchain-related software happy on Windows is a challenge, especially with security software. Have you already looked at that, or will you be asking users to bypass their security? Yeah, we've looked into that, and there might be something where they need to bypass things, especially since ports need to be open there and stuff like that. So, but we might be able to just tunnel it all through a VPN or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, good point. So this will be worked out. Alan Morris, you have mentioned that you will list the XNDE. Well, I only said it will be listed. I didn't say that I or Xandeum will be the ones that list it, right? And what price do you expect the XNDE to be listed at? Yeah, that's one of these questions, right? Everyone wants to know that. There will be a price discovery phase, and there will be something that we hope for, but in the end the market will decide, right? So it might even depend on the specific day. Yeah, so we can at this point not have a comment on that one. And Peter again, Michael from Discord, will the testnet launch in July 2024, which is right now? How will be the change from DevNet to testnet for the validators. What do we have to do? Yeah, so honestly, everything takes longer than you think, and that's also true for the liquid staking pool. So the liquid staking pool is delayed for a couple of months. And after we're done with that, we're going to plan through what effect that has for the other things, right? But again, the liquid staking is super important. It's going to help us on so many fronts. But it just needed to get done, and we just can't say, oh, we planned 3 months for the liquid staking, we're not done, so now let's do something else, right? No, we need to get it done, and that's what we're doing right now. And then after that, we have the time to figure out a new time plan, right? Okay, can always add an external hard drive. You mentioned Xandeum Foundation before. Who are they? And the relationship to BitOkuLabs or the other entities involved in this project. So that's a good question. So the usual way to do that is, with all the blockchains, you see the foundation there. These foundations are normally what's called orphaned entities. So that means nobody owns them, and they have a purpose set out in their kind of constitutional documents. So the Xandeum Foundation is there to, further the progress of the Xandeum chain and the Xandeum software and things like that. But it's not owned by XandeumLabs. Of course, we kind of put it into existence, but then we cut off the ownership there, so that it's a pure, a pure orphaned entity for the Xandeum Foundation. Currently, there's no stream of income. There's the Xandeum Pool Foundation also, which is a separate foundation. It's also orphaned. And the Xandeum Pool Foundation will be the one that receives the pool commission from running the pool, right? And these funds go into the pool commission. And since the pool commission has its own constitutional documents to further the needs of Xandeum as well, it'll use these funds to pay for development and develop that validator software and PNodes software that we need to run our storage layer, right? So that will come from the Xandeum Pool Foundation. And as soon as we have something up there and have the and by the way, the Xandeum Pool Foundation owns a lot of XNDE tokens, right? So the pool and the pool commission and stuff like that will all be managed by an XNDE DAO. So you all know the Xan DAO already. There is an XNDE DAO as well. So the XNDE DAO is basically the one that manages that liquid staking pool, and the Xandeum Pool Foundation will be one big owner of XNDE tokens in that DAO. It will use its own XNDE tokens to vote in that DAO, and it'll receive the pool commission, and that goes directly into furthering the needs of the Xandeum chain and the Xandeum product. And if that means placing an order with XandeumLabs or BitOkuLabs to develop some validator software, then that's going to be the direction there. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. Barry Conway, Bernie, can you give some thought as to the way forward for non-technical node holders regarding possible hosting solutions? So that will be different for VNodes and PNodes, validator nodes and provider nodes. For validator nodes, most likely hosting it in a professional data center is the best solution, even though you could run it from your home. I see a lot of guys doing it in DevNet from home these days. I see also people doing it in VMs on DevNet these days. And that might work for a certain period of time, but the market for validator nodes and PNodes is going to become competitive, right? So while some things might be working for a while, just using cheap hosting or VM hosting or doing it on a small computer and stuff. But everything's built in a way that it's competitive, right? For the validators, you need those vote credits and you need to produce blocks, right? And you do that in competition to other validators. So that's why you want to have the best solutions out there. And the same will be true for the PNodes, right? There's, as set out in that document that I showed you, the docs.xandeum.org, you see the storage layer architecture set out there, and it'll all gonna be about, you know, bidding for storage and the actual cost of storage and stuff like that. And you know, when apps, there's app developers that build apps that use our storage layer, right? These app developers, they create their storage buckets on specific PNodes, right? This will be assigned by the validator nodes, right? The validator nodes with our extended validator software, they will know what PNodes are out there, and they score the PNodes, right? And if you score well, you will win a lot of auctions, and so to speak, to be able to store that data, right? It's the same thing with our Solana validator that Xandeum is running today. It's basically an auction of, you know, what validator is going to produce a block, or you know, how many vote credits they get and stuff like that, right? So there's no easy answer to that, and it's not something that, you know, where we as a company do something and then tell you exact requirements. It's all going to be a big cooperative of node owners and node operators, both for the VNodes and the PNodes. And all the technical details, as I mentioned, are still being found out, right? There will be iteration over iteration, and we just, you know, it's not like we're done, we've proved everything, and here's the requirements, right? It also depends on how successful is the whole thing, right? If there's, you know, crazy amount of need for storage, and then also on the validator side for running all these apps, the storage enabled decentralized apps, we call them set apps, right? If there's a lot of these set apps, then there will be higher requirements because you need to compete against way more others there, right? So that's how it is, and it's similar to what you see in many other blockchain projects. Okay, hope that answers your question, even though it was a little bit like we don't know. And yeah, it's a we don't know, but I hope I was able to explain a little bit on why we don't know. And we don't control this whole thing, right? This is not a centralized thing, right? It's going to be blockchain. All right, John, could you provide a way for us to see the major accomplishments each sprint? Yeah, we can try do that. But as for now, as I mentioned, it was mostly about the actual pool. Since that pool is also in competition to many other stake pools out there, we didn't choose to publish so much about all the different stuff. I think it's like 4 or 5 different Solana programs in Rust that are being deployed on the Solana blockchain. One of them is the SPL stake pool program that's been written by Solana itself, right? So that's also a very important thing security-wise. For the actual liquid staking, it's based off of SPL stake pool, and that has been audited like 8, 9, 12 times, I don't know, all by, you know, reputable auditing companies. So we can be really sure that this is, you know, something that hopefully cannot be hacked and you know, isn't maliciously written or stuff like that. It's all that code SPL stake pool that also powers all the other stake pools on the Solana chain. What is custom is all our rewards thing, right? We have that XNDE rewards token. We have we give you the rewards token for liquid staking with us. We give you the rewards token for owning Xand and having bought those nodes. We give you the XNDE tokens for having points. And the points can be reused, right? So there will be lots of stuff in the future, and there's still that Xand token, so you can use those points multiple ways, right? It's not like, oh, now I claim my airdrop and then my points are gone, right? No, those are multiple use points, right? Yeah, but once we do these sprints for the actual validator software, obviously, yeah, we will publish the major accomplishments, and we'll have them in the release notes. Okay. Wonders of the world. At the moment, there is still a large portion of Xand tokens in one fewer hands. How should the tokens be further divided? Not exactly sure what you mean here. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit in a follow-up question here. Ed, I am a CNC machinist, and I am working on an engraved plate with the Xandeum logo that I will get framed. It will be stainless steel mirror finish. I want to make one for you, Felix and Brad. You don't want to make one for me, huh? What's that? No, I would be super interested in that. So if you can just send us a little bit more info on how it's going to look like and how much it's going to cost and stuff like that, I'm always interested in that stuff. Yeah. Ed, again, maybe you could hang it in your booth in Singapore. Yeah. How do I get them shipped to you? Yeah, you can DM me or Brad on or Felix on Discord and just discuss it with you. We will likely just create a special group chat then on Discord with you, and then we can discuss these things. So I'm super happy about it. Super happy to hear that. Awesome. Robert, does more powerful hardware bring me more rewards as a validator? In general, yes, right? But again, the devil is also in the details, right? And it all depends on the load, obviously. So if there's not much load, more power might not help. And we've been going through all of that with our own Solana validator, right? And as I mentioned before, it has become a major source of funding. Really a major source of funding, right? I'm not talking small money here. Solana validators is big business these days. And it is a science of its own, science and art, right? It's kind of a mixture. It's not an exact science, right? To tune these validators and, put in the hardware, put in the software, the networking, all these kind of things. But in general, the more performant your validator is, the more potential at least you have. But if you make some mistake there and you put in a lot of hardware, but you're not being able to put your power on the street because the networking is bad or stuff like that, then it won't help you, right? So these are all things that each validator needs to figure out over time, right? And that's why I keep saying it's in your hands how much you earn, right? And otherwise, this would be a security, by the way, right? And if I would tell you, hey, all you need to do is buy a node and then you get this and that financial return, it will be a security, which, by the way, I wouldn't be legally allowed to do, right? And but it's not like that. With the node, you basically buy the right to do that stuff on your own, and then it's up to you. And there's a lot of things to figure out, right? How to, yeah. So hope that explains it a little bit. Then Michael Hill, thanks, Bernie. I'm 10 minutes behind, but wanted to thank you for the information. All right. Man, we're almost an hour again today, huh? John Spence, thoroughly appreciate transparency in the projects I am part of. Yeah, you're welcome, John. And I think that's the way to do it. And, there's no other. And I want to do it that way. And it's so much fun for me also to, have you guys being part of this and being transparent and on the AMA Discord channel, there were tough questions, right? And I was happy to read those and read them here today and respond to them as best as I can, because I just believe, yeah, that's almost the only way to bring this thing to a success, because you guys will only spread the word about us if you feel it's a great project and you feel like we're in the right place here together, as a team and everything. And yeah, let's read it here again. Thank you for making strides toward making the waters more clear and to give us more insights as to where things are. Speaking of roadmap update, yeah. Well, as I mentioned, as soon as we have the launch for the pool, we'll hopefully find some time to do a roadmap update, and we definitely want to have an updated roadmap going into Singapore. By the way, our team has grown also, so that's kind of a side announcement that I could do here in this AMA. Let me get some water in the meantime. Man, talking for an hour is crazy. Yeah, we have Eric on board, Eric Schuster. So he's helping us with managing advertising campaigns, because that's important with the launch, right? We want to do some advertising, get people excited, get more people on our email list, get more people into our Discord, get more people into our YouTube channel and everything. So we're doing some sort of advertising there, and getting stuff out, and getting all the analytics together. Who is the target group that we actually need to show our stuff to and stuff like that. I'm super excited about Eric. He's he loves these things, even though he's not a marketing professional. So he's basically a noob there. But what he has achieved in a very short amount of time is just awesome, and Felix is very happy with him. And we also have Verena new on the team. She happens to be my oldest daughter. She lives in Las Vegas now, so she decided to move from Germany to come here, live in Las Vegas with me. And actually, the thing was, she was thinking about working in her field, but she got so excited about Xandeum and everything here that she wants to stay in this team for at least a year or so, and then see what's going on. And I'm super, super happy also. And there are a lot of things where she can help just from, being a family member. Obviously, it's easy to trust with a lot of things that I wouldn't, likely delegate to anyone. And she's helping with all the YouTube and YouTube analytics and the shorts that some of you have seen here, and super excited. She's going to be in Singapore also, so if any one of you is there, you're going to meet basically the whole team there in Singapore. All right. Wonders of the world. This means that many shares or tokens are distributed across a few addresses. How do you want to distribute them further, spread them out so that the shares are better distributed? Okay, so we have that light paper. So in the light paper, it's set out that 50% of the Zan tokens that are being produced each and every day, or each and every second, basically, go to the company, and the other 50% go to the node owners, right? And they will be shared equally among the node owners. So, and some people own a lot of nodes, other people own fewer nodes, but that's how it is. So we're not going to kind of change the light paper or the whole thing here right now. Obviously, as soon the Xan tokens are listed, they can be traded, right? And then they will be shuffled all together. Some of the Xan tokens that the company owns, and when I say the company, that used to be Labs in the beginning, but right now it's obviously the foundation. And these will be given out to support things like the DevNet and later on the testnet incentivization and many other things to incentivize other stuff. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, we have, I think, almost 1,000 or so node owners. They are quite distributed here, and there might be other phases where more nodes will be sold, and we might have some more offerings. After the pool is launched and after the PNode DevNet is live and stuff like that, we might have some more offerings where we have a message out there for giving people a reason to buy more nodes. And when we advertise them and when we have a fixed date, when we say you need to be there on this and that date to be among the firsts, then we can sell more nodes, right? And we could definitely do that, but we chose to build now, right? And build the pool first and then build the PNode software. And yeah, definitely there will be release notes with each and every sprint. And yeah. So we're still with that team of, I would say, 3 core developers. Then we have myself. I develop also at some points in time, especially right now, I'm the main guy for the actual validator software. Felix, even though he's the head of marketing, but he's also managing the dev team, right? So for everything where that has a GUI and stuff, where he can be the product owner and say this how we want to have the liquid staking pool look like. He's running a lot of these developer meetings on my behalf, and Brad is doing a lot of the testing, which is also kind of part of the development, right? So I would say if you count everyone, that's like 6 people, and the core actual coders in there, those are 3.5, right? The half one being myself. Exactly. For many, it is simply difficult to understand what is being built here. Yeah, I hope I could shed some light on, I was able to shed some light on that today. So there's a lot of stuff being built for the liquid staking pool. And trust me, that's a project of its own. With the liquid staking pool itself, we can just use Solana's SPL stake pool program. And that's the best way to do that because it's audited so many times from so many reputable companies. But getting all the rewards right? Getting the claim portals right. So if you paid attention here, no, you couldn't have paid attention because I didn't give you the, oops, where is that? Yeah, I didn't give you the tabs here, but there's the claim portal here. See that? I'm not going to click it now, though. But yeah, we have the claim portal here, right? And yeah, we have the points app and everything. But yeah, there's a claim portal for the ones that get an allocation. There's a claim portal for the ones that want to swap their XNDE. There's a claim portal for the ones that have points. Then we need to scan and kind of scour the blockchain in order to figure out who had how many sol staked with our pool over what time. In order to calculate their rewards, we want to have their rewards, being visible, counted up in the GUI, stuff like that. There is so much stuff to develop, right? And yeah, I'm so proud of that team and all of the teamwork with the 3 coders and Brad testing it, Emil sometimes helping in testing as well. And Felix managing all of that stuff, keeping all the tasks there and giving input for how the GUI looks like, the UX lead. Felix is kind of our UX lead. That was the question here. Yeah. Okay. We are indeed all very, very excited. Again, it was only a small team that was really asking questions here. But, that's okay. And I'm glad, especially John, you found the time here because I see so many things from you on Discord. I'm super grateful. You're helping out with that. And you're also one of the guys that, or the guy that posts about milestones and how many transactions and all these type of things. So we mainly rely on you there, and glad you found it into the AMA today. And it's fine that we have kind of a core team here asking all these questions. I'm happy all these questions are being asked, and it was kind of tougher questions today, right? So this is the AMAs as I want to have them, right? It's not like a kind of little round of friends chatting about only the easy stuff, right? We want tough questions, and they were there in Discord, and they were all being asked today here. Yeah, that's how I like it. And by the way, Ian, small team, absolutely. So, and I think we need to stay at this team size until we've done our homework, right? And we have like a proven MVP and how it all works with the PNodes and stuff like that. And then once we're there and once we can show that thing to the world, that'll be a whole new thing. That'll be a whole new world for the company, because then indeed we need to focus a lot on marketing and finding developers that want to build those apps, and they need to see a sample app. So the Xandipedia is a key thing there. And that's going to be very, very different there, but we need the time to figure out the technical stuff. It is super, super tough stuff. It's not an easy problem to solve. If it was, then people would have solved it already, right? It is tough to have a blockchain that has an accounts system that is scalable capacity-wise. And by the way, Solana has so many problems even with their current accounts, right? And I've said that in some of my videos. And Anatoly himself chiming in oftentimes. So that is difficult stuff, but making that whole thing scalable, scaling it out to thousands, 100,000s of PNodes, millions of PNodes, and having them all supervised by the validators, that's not an easy feat, right? And we put in the liquid staking pool as an intermediate product. We're learning on the technical side, we're getting additional funding sources, and we're getting the idea out by having a project and a product that people are actually using, right? So if and when a lot of people are using the Xandeum liquid staking pool, the message, the narrative, what's unique about that staking pool which is, of course, the extra storage rewards that will be able to be made once the storage layer goes live. That's going to come into so many more heads as an awareness there. Developers make the world run. That's absolutely true. Now you remind me of that famous video of Steve Ballmer where he said, developers. I don't know if you guys know that video. Otherwise, look it up, right? Steve Ballmer, developers video. All right. Good. Then I would say if we don't have more questions today, thanks so much for giving me the tough questions. Keep doing that. Keep doing that also in the comments on all of my other videos and stuff like that. I honestly love that, right? And yeah, that's the way to get you guys into co-owning this thing together with us, right? Okay. Good. Thanks a lot, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Catch you later.